Hi, Dr. Scott Bolland here. At times, many of us think, if only I had a better job, I'd be happy. If only I had more money or was more successful, I'd be happy. If only I had a more attentive spouse, I'd be happy. But what if I told you that this thinking is backwards? That most of us are putting the cart before the horse? That happiness is not just a byproduct of success, but instead is a precursor to success. That happy people have the advantage. Although this might seem like an Oprah thing to be saying, just be happy and you'll be more successful, there's much research to support it. Being in a positive emotional state, in fact, has a positive impact on most metrics of success. Happy people live 10 years longer than unhappy people. Happy people have stronger immunity to disease and take less sick leave. Happy people are more creative and productive. Happy people are better at problem solving. Happy people make better leaders and generate more sales. Happy people have more friends and have better marriages. Happy people make more money and are more likely to be promoted. In short, it pays to be happy. This happiness advantage might seem counterintuitive, but there's a good scientific explanation related to our evolutionary history. To begin with, both our mind and our bodies evolved for survival, not happiness. Emotions themselves can be viewed as the guidance system in the brain. They tell us when we're getting things right or wrong. Positive emotions indicate that we're getting things right and are related to things that we should approach because they're good for us, such as food and caring relationships. Negative emotions are linked with things that are dangerous that we should avoid, such as predators or other things that could harm us. And accordingly, the structure of our brain and bodies reflect this dichotomy. In the body, we have a parasympathetic and a sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic system is our rest and digest and broaden and build system, active when we're safe and happy. The sympathetic nervous system, in contrast, controls our bodies in times of threat. Interestingly, when we feel threatened, either physically or psychologically, our bodies still respond in the same way as it did in our evolutionary history. When we're stressed, our heart rate is elevated and blood is redirected to the muscles to give them more power to help us run or fight. Blood becomes thicker and more likely to clot should we be physically injured, and we have a narrowed peripheral vision to better focus on the threat at hand. Our immune system shuts down to preserve energy, and we have a reduced digestion and sex drive. When we're getting attacked by a lion is not the best time for Netflix and chill. In the brain, there's also quite dramatic effects when we're feeling stressed or threatened. When we're in a safe environment and happy, information is sent from our senses to the thalamus, the relay center of the brain. This is sent to the amygdala, which is the emotional processing area that can detect whether or not what we're experiencing is dangerous or not. And if it isn't, information flows to the prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of the brain, relating to creativity and planning. In contrast, when we're stressed, the amygdala detects the threat and shuts down the prefrontal cortex. When getting attacked by a tiger is not the time for creative problem solving. It's time to act. Thinking becomes fast and reactive. This system makes a lot of sense in dealing with physical threat, but doesn't translate well to the modern work context. When we're stressed or unhappy, we're less healthy because our immune system shuts down, and we're less productive and less creative because the thinking part of our brain, the prefrontal cortex, is shut down. And the impact of stress permeates right down to the cellular level, to the level of our DNA. Telomeres are the caps at the end of each strand of DNA that protect our chromosomes, like the plastic tips at the end of shoelaces. They are an indicator of our biological age. People under prolonged stress have shorter telomeres, meaning the DNA strands start to become damaged and our cells can't do their jobs properly. Being unhappy can impact most measures of performance. So if you care about success for yourself and for your teams, you should care about happiness. And the next obvious question then becomes, how can I become less stressed and more happy? And although I'll explore this in detail in later episodes, a short answer is that happiness is something you can design for. And here's a simple strategy to get you started. Step 1. List the tasks or activities that you engaged in at work and home over the last week. Step 2. For each activity, give a score of 1 to 10 for how much joy that activity brings to you. A simple question to ask is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you look forward to that activity? And for step 3, examine your list and think of what you could add, remove or modify that might nudge things in a more positive direction. What does your perfect weekend look like? What could you do more of at work that's bringing you joy? What could you outsource to others that's depleting your energy? For example, for me, cleaning the house is something that I don't personally enjoy, but I can modify the task by listening to my favorite podcast while I clean. And doing that, I actually look forward to such chores. Remember, happiness is something we can design for ourselves and others. And in dealing with stress at work, it's equally beneficial to design for joy at home, to put your own oxygen mask on first, and to engage in activities that replenish you. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system and physiologically undoes the impact of stress, giving you more capacity to deal with challenges in other areas of your life. Remember, it pays to be happy, and happiness to a degree is something you can design for. Let me know how you go.